Alrighty, we are going to get started now. Welcome, everybody. If you haven't heard, you're at the Pricing Management 101 webinar. I'm sure you know since you signed up for it. We're so excited to have you guys here. We did the same webinar yesterday and had great turnout. So hopefully this information is very helpful to you. Again, if you guys have any questions as we're going through this information, please put it in the question section. We love to interact with you guys and make sure that all of your questions are answered. My name is Olivia. I'm the Client Success Manager here at Listing Mirror, and I am joined by Erin Waywalk. She's our COO of Listing Mirror, so you'll be hearing from her shortly as well. So I think here we have to just switch over our slides and we'll go through the agenda. Okay, perfect. All right, so the agenda for today, kind of an overview of what we're going to be talking about. First, we're going to do an overview of the pricing tab just to give you a good idea of what that looks like. I'm sure you've seen the pricing tab in your Listing Mirror account, but we'll be going through everything that you're seeing there. Then we're going to go through integration settings. So there's a lot of different ways you can set up your price management. So we'll be going through all of those different options. And then we're going to be touching on pricing rules, which yesterday we had a ton of questions about. So hopefully, if you're not familiar with our pricing rules, you'll learn something new. Or if you are, you'll be able to learn all the options you have there. After we go through that, we'll have a Q&A time and then a conclusion at the end. Again, if you guys have questions, please put them in the question section and we'll go through those at the end. Thank you very much, and I'm going to hand it over to Erin.
Thanks, Olivia. Hello, everyone. It's great to be with you today. I'm really excited to talk about yet another one of our features and something that makes Listing Mirror extremely useful. So the first thing that we're going to go through, like Olivia mentioned, is just talking about the pricing tab in your Listing Mirror account, some of the different options that you're going to find there, how to navigate there, etc. So navigating there is quite easy. You kind of have two options there. This is just a looping video just for you to get a sense of how to get to the pricing page. So when you first log into your account, you'll see that you always end up on the listing page. And then there's two different ways that you can get to this manage pricing page. Either you can use the pricing tab in the white bar, which is what you're seeing here. You can also click in the gray bar at the top on pricing, and then the drop down will show you manage pricing, and you can also get to it there. Once you've navigated to that page, you have a couple different options that you're looking at on this page. So the purpose of this page is for you to be able to both view and edit your pricing quickly without having to go into a listing and edit the full listing. So this just kind of gives you a little bit more visibility and also the ability to update your prices more quickly, and you can also update multiple at a time. So what you're seeing here on the left for the number one, that is an example of a price that is editable. So for an editable price, that just means that right now there are no settings set up to link that price to the product catalog. If you're not familiar with product catalog, I encourage you to reach out to Olivia or myself after the webinar, and we can give you more information about it. But essentially what it does is it allows you to have a set of listing data that belongs to the product instead of just to a particular marketplace. So if you don't have it set up with the product catalog, then your listing, or excuse me, your price will be able to be edited right here on the page, which is what you're seeing under number one, where it's pretty obvious that you can edit that. Number two, we're showing you an example of this is what it looks like if the price is connected to the product catalog. So this would be an example where you probably don't want to edit the price because it's connected through the product catalog, meaning that it's controlled somewhere else. You don't necessarily want to mess with that. You're going to want to update your price in the product catalog instead, and then Listing Mirror will automatically sync that price out to, in this case, the Etsy channel for this product. If you were to click on the X next to the price, that would allow you to edit this field, even though right now it's grayed out. So if that's an option that you need, that would be something that you could do. Once the price is updated, and I'm not showing this on the screen, but once the price is updated, you will see a little banner that will let you know, hey, this price needs to be saved. So you do have the option to edit multiple at a time, and then click that save button, and that will sync all of those new prices out to the marketplace immediately. So that is how this page works. Now we're going to talk about integration settings. So this little looping video that I'm showing you here is just how to navigate to those integration settings. So when you first set up your account, depending on when you set up your account, you probably went through some sort of onboarding process where a lot of this was done for you. So I found that a lot of people are a little bit confused on where to find these settings. But each of your channels has settings that belong to that channel specifically that are they're channel-wide settings. So to navigate to those settings from your listing page, what you're going to do is click on integrations at the top and then click channel integrations. And then you'll click on edit for the store that you're wanting to edit. This has a whole bunch of features in it, but right today we're going to be looking at obviously the pricing integration settings. The first integration settings that we're going to look at are for Amazon specific because a large majority of our client base used Amazon primarily as their selling platform prior to Listing Mirror, or maybe you still do. A lot of our settings are geared toward making sure that we have the ability to use Amazon in a slightly different way than the other channels that we offer. So starting right here, we see 3 different pricing settings, and this is what you'll see when you click edit for your Amazon integration. We have price sync to market, update price, and sync price. So let's go through the differences between those because the terms can be very similar, but they do mean different things. So the first one, price syncing to market. This says you want to update your pricing in Listing Mirror, and you want Listing Mirror to sync that price out to Amazon on your behalf. So much like we were just looking at the pricing page, actually we'll go back to it. If you had an Amazon store here, you would be able to edit your Amazon prices here. And then when you press save, we would sync those prices out to Amazon for you. So that is what price sync to market implies. Update price says that you are going to update your pricing on Amazon Seller Central. A lot of people did this before they use Listing Mirror, and it just makes sense to continue doing it this way. This would also be useful if you're using an Amazon repricer. You would want us to be importing whatever pricing you've updated on Amazon directly. So you update the prices in Amazon Seller Central, and then Listing Mirror imports those prices into your Listing Mirror account. So it's basically the opposite of pricing to market. And then finally, sync price. Listing Mirror uses your Amazon prices to set prices on other channels. So this essentially allows Listing Mirror, it says, yes, Listing Mirror, I want you to potentially use this price to sync to other channels. I used the analogy yesterday of a water table with diverters in it. I have a picture here, and I'm just going to try to pull it up. Hopefully you guys can see it. This is, let me just make sure that, okay, yes, you're looking at the same thing. Okay, cool. So I just, hopefully you guys can see this picture well enough. What this is the water table at the Chicago Children's Museum, and this is the way that I've always envisioned it. So basically these little yellow stoppers right here, these are these different settings that we have inside of Listing Mirror. So basically what you are doing is you're diverting the flow of the pricing. Are we completely stopping the pricing? Are we diverting it one way or the other? And then each of the different settings that we're talking about is kind of like these little yellow diverters, and then you are directing the flow of traffic to get your data where you want it. Hopefully that is a helpful analogy for you. Okay, so on your other channels, your non-Amazon channels, you will then see the option to be a price sync target for the Amazon price. So essentially what you're doing is you're saying, yes, I want Amazon to sync my price to this channel. And this specific channel is then going to either, it will follow rules that are written after this point, or it will just be a direct price sync between Amazon and say your eBay channel or something like that. Okay, now I'm going to turn it back over to Olivia, and she's going to talk through pricing rules.
Awesome, thank you. So pricing rules it can be a kind of complex idea to understand. So I'll do my best to explain it here. But again, if you guys have questions, just add them in there and we'll go through it at the end. So first of all, if you're not familiar with what rules are different ways that we can automatically set fields. So you can use it for all sorts of things. In this case, we're going to be talking about pricing rules, but you can set rules up to always add a specific brand name to your listings, to always add something to your title. There's different ways that you can use it. To navigate there, you can see I have just a video here to show you what that looks like. So let me give it a second to get from the beginning. So from here, you're going to click on the listing dropdown and then select listing rules. Once you're on here, you're going to go to the integration that you're wanting to add the rule for and click create. And then you'll see this pop up here where you can actually create that rule. So all rules are going to be created for a specific marketplace. So you can't create rules for an entire channel. So it is channel specific. So if you want the same rule for multiple channels, that's completely fine. You just have to create it for every individual marketplace. So if we go to the next slide here, we can look at the specific pricing rules. So there's two different options when you're setting up a price rule. You can either do a fixed price, so it's a specific dollar amount, higher or lower, that you want to add to your prices, or you can do it by a percentage. So right now we're looking at an example of how to set up a rule for a dollar amount or a fixed price. So you'll see at the top, we'll just look here at the left-hand side. You'll see at the top, it has a title. So the title has no meaning when it comes to setting the actual rule. It's just a title that you can use so you know what that rule is. So in my case, I just set it as price rule, $5 higher, and the one on the right is $5 lower. The filter type, that one can always change. Typically, when you're using price rules, you're going to want it to always apply, but you can do it based on certain fields, based on certain dollar amounts. So let's say if it's a brand Nike, you always want that to be $5 higher on eBay. So you can kind of change that filter type. Pretty much anything is possible with these rules. But just to keep it simple, I said always update or add $5 to that price. Rule action in this case is going to be increase price fixed. The field name that we are targeting is going to be the price field. And then the field value is how much you want it to be higher or lower. In my case, in the left-hand side, that example, we want it to be $5 higher. So I just add 5.00 for $5. On the right-hand side, you'll see it's very, very similar as far as how we're setting it up. The only difference here is the field value. So the rule action is still increase price fixed, but the value is going to be a negative. So it's just negative $5 in this case. If you wanted it to be $1 lower, $10 lower, however you want, it's going to be that amount, but with a negative in the front to lower that price. So those are the two options when you're doing a fixed price. And then what we're looking at here is if you're wanting to do it by a percentage. So again, on the left-hand side, I have it as a higher percentage. Right-hand side, we have it as a lower. So the way you set it up, the title, again, it doesn't have any meaning when it comes to setting the rule, but it's just so you can remember what that rule is. So price rule 5% higher. Filter type, again, I just set it as always. Rule action, the only difference here is it's increase price fixed. And again, we're targeting that price field. And then the field value, in this case, when you're working with percentages, it's always going to be based on 1. So if you just set field value 1.00, it's not going to change that price at all. So depending if you're wanting to be higher or lower on that percentage, you're going to add that. So in this case, my field value, I want it to be 5% higher, so I'm just going to add 1.05. The 0.05 is allowing it to be 5% higher. On the left-hand side, you'll see I want it to be 5% lower. So my field value, again, we're based on that 1. So I want it to be 5% lower than that, so I have to put 0.95 for my percentage. So that's how you're going to do it for setting your price percentage. This one is a little bit more tricky than if you're doing it by a dollar or a fixed price. But just remember, it always is based on that 1. So 1.00 is going to be no change. And then you go up or down based on if you're wanting to lower or higher that percentage. And then if you go to the next slide, we can go through the integration settings. So Erin talked about earlier, you can set it up so Amazon is kind of your source for pricing. So we're updating from Amazon, we update that price, pull it into Listing Mirror, and then sync it out to your other channels. So when you have a price rule involved, then what it will do is we will pull in the price from Amazon, we will apply that price rule. So in this example, it's increasing the price by $1.50. Other examples were by $5 or 5%. So it's going to add that price rule, whatever you have set, and then it will sync out to those channels. So if you have it set up as update price, sync price, anytime we're updating from Amazon, it's always going to apply that rule and then sync out to your other channel. So it'll automatically update your price based on those pricing rules. So you can do it that way, or the other option is when you set up a price rule, you can set it up and just do a one-time sync. So you can set up that rule and click run, and that will run it one time, and then it won't be continually updating. So that's kind of the basics of the pricing rule. Just kind of know, rule of thumb, when you're doing percentage, it's always based on 1. So depending if you want to go higher or lower, start at 1 and then kind of go up or down depending on what you're wanting, a percentage higher or a percentage lower. That's the basics of those pricing rules. I think that is actually it that we have as far as content goes, and then we can kind of go through the questions that you guys have. So first one here that I'm seeing is one question that I have is how to make it so the price on Walmart is 10% more than the price on Amazon, and that this syncs on a regular basis. I think that last graphic kind of showed that. You'll set up update price and sync price for Amazon, and then you'll set up your rule, and that will allow you to sync out. So if you have any other questions about that or the setup, let me know.
Another question I see here, Olivia, is about using a repricer with Amazon and how we can integrate with someone's repricer on
Yeah.
Amazon and potentially use that with other channels, what that looks like.
Yeah, that's a great question. So Listing Mirror does not have any specific repricers that we integrate with, but repricers can work alongside Listing Mirror. So what a lot of our clients will have set up is they will have a repricer on Amazon, and then all they will do is turn on update price and sync price. If you want to go back to those integration settings, Erin, we can kind of show what that looks like. But they'll have update price and sync price, so those second two there. If you have those turned on, that again allows us to update from Amazon. We're pulling that price update about every 15 minutes from Amazon, so it's fairly quick. We'll update the price and then sync that out to other channels. So anytime your repricer updates Amazon, Listing Mirror is grabbing that and syncing it out to Walmart or eBay, wherever you're wanting to sync that price. So it kind of works as a repricer for those other channels too, in a roundabout way.
And then another question that I saw that was kind of related, and I mean, I've definitely dealt with this before, is if there is, say, you're wanting to make sure that your profits are the same on other marketplaces. I know that our best practice is specifically for eBay is just to set your pricing from the difference between your Amazon channel and your eBay channel to just be $3 higher if you are using MCF to fill your orders. And that pretty much will give you the same profit. Again, it's not exact, but that will get you fairly close if that's something specific that you're interested in doing. We don't necessarily have a pricing. Well, actually, Olivia, that's a better question for you. What options do people have in terms of matching profits? Is there anything in our rules that would help someone match profits between marketplaces?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there is a setting in the rules that you can match FBA profit. So basically it's going to add a percentage or a dollar amount to your eBay listing so you can match that profit from Amazon. The thing that you'll want to look out for is we aren't able to see what your cost is on those products. So it's not going to be 100% accurate. So keep an eye on that. For some people, it's good enough. For other people, they'd rather do a fixed $3 like Aaron mentioned. So you can play around with that. You can definitely use the match FBA profit. But just keep in mind, we don't know what your costs are for both. We don't know what your seller fees are. So it might not be exact profit matching. Another question here that I see is how often will price change on channel when using a listing rule? So that's a great question. It depends on how you have that rule set up, that pricing rule. So you can set that price rule up and just run it one time. So you just create it and click run, and that's going to apply to your whole channel, and then it's over with. The only time that it will continually run is if you have it set up with Amazon. So if you're updating and syncing price from Amazon, then we will continually run that rule. So as far as a time frame on how often that happens, we are pulling the price from Amazon every 15 minutes about. So probably, I mean, it'd be like 15, 20 minutes for that new price to sync out to other channels once we pull it in. So rough estimate on time there. Another question here. Can you clarify the difference between sync price and price sync to market? Yeah, so the sync price and price sync to market are two different settings for your channel. So sync price is going to be an Amazon setting, which allows us to actually sync the price that we're pulling in from Amazon out to your other channels. Price sync to market is from your other integration. So that is what allows us to actually sync it to those channels. It depends. The reason why there's two different settings there is you can choose what integration you want to sync that Amazon price to. So what a lot of people will do is with eBay, they can kind of play around with the price a little bit more than Walmart. Walmart really wants to see the same prices you have on Amazon. So a lot of the time you want to sync price from Amazon over to Walmart, which you would have sync price on and price sync to market enabled as well. But for eBay, you don't want that price to sync to the market. This is just in one scenario that you could have. So you can kind of play around with those settings so it's more per integration rather than your entire account.
Yeah, I kind of always think of that analogy of like a canal that has the different like dams that can go down and up depending on where you need a boat and where you want the water to flow. So one of the dams is, are we allowing Amazon prices to flow into Listing Mirror so we can raise and lower that bar? And then another dam is, are we then syncing those prices from Listing Mirror out to an individual channel? So there's kind of two different stops there, two different times for us to make the determination, okay, are we allowing the price to sync into Listing Mirror, and then where are we allowing that price to go? So it kind of just gives you a little bit more control so that you're not, turning them all on or all off. You're doing that by channel. So you first want to confirm, yes, I want to sync this price into Listing Mirror, and then I want to allow that price to sync to other channels, and then these are the specific channels I want the price to sync to. So it just gives you a lot more control of the flow of how your pricing is syncing, what order it's syncing in, and where it's syncing to. Hopefully that helps clarify a little bit.
Yeah, I like that analogy. All right, another question here I see is regarding repricers. Is there a difference in establishing pricing if we're using Amazon repricer or versus a third-party repricing? So there is, I mean, if you're doing a third-party repricer, that would integrate directly to your channel. So that third party might have an integration with your eBay and Walmart channel, which an Amazon repricer technically wouldn't have that. So there's that difference there. As far as Listing Mirror goes, If you have an Amazon repricer, we can pull that in and sync, like I mentioned before. If you have a third-party repricer, we don't currently integrate with any of them. So we wouldn't be able to connect that way, but you could still connect that directly to your integrations and they will continue to reprice your products. We haven't seen any issues with repricers and Listing Mirror working together. So you'll be fine if you have both connected to your channels. I'm not seeing any other questions that we haven't answered. Are you seeing any more,
No,
Erin?
I think we got through all of them. Those are really good questions and help kind of clarify a little bit more what feels confusing on the client end, because that's not something that's as easy for us to know as just getting your question. So thank you so much for asking those today. Let's move on and talk about kind of some announcements and just some different options that we have for you to get the help that you need. So Olivia, who's on the call with us today, this is what she looks like. She's our client success manager. And I'm not sure if you guys know that her primary goal is to make sure that the experience that you're getting at Listing Mirror is working for your business and is also something that's really enjoyable and that you're growing and learning from. So some of the things that she can offer to you for your account are things like doing an account audit. So just looking through your account, trying to figure out how could we, maybe improve it. I'm also just doing wellness checks on what your account looks like and what are some things that you could do. Say, for instance, if you have a bunch of errors or something like that, she'd be a great person to walk through that stuff with you. And then also she does offer topical training. So if there's like a specific feature, say you wanted to go over pricing, for instance, or you want to go over your inventory syncing or anything like that, she's a great resource for that. So you can reach out to her directly, olivia@listingmirror.com. In addition, we always just want to let you know that we are here for you. We want to make sure that the software is really useful for your business. And if you find that there's something that isn't working well, we don't want you to just sit on that. We want to make sure that we have the opportunity to work with you to figure out what is going on that's not allowing it to work as you would expect and as you need it to for your business. So the first thing that you can always do is go to support.listingmirror.com and search our knowledge base and look for resources that are available to you that are not reliant on us giving you a specific answer. We do our best to keep that all updated and with as much information as we can. But if you're not finding what you need there, you can also send us an email through the little portal there. So you'll see the option. I think it's like submit a request or something along those lines. It should be fairly obvious when you're at the support.listingmirror.com website. So that is a great resource for you as well to be able to ask questions specifically to our technical support staff and for them to be able to answer specifically based on your own account settings and on your own products as well, which can be really helpful as well. We thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate that you made time in your day to attend. Like Olivia said, we will send out a recording of this, and we're also going to send out the slide deck just because I felt like, especially the sync price slide will be really helpful just for reminding yourself what that means. So we will be sending that out to you either Thursday afternoon or Friday morning. You can look out for it. In the meantime, if you do have any questions, you can reach out to Olivia at listingmirror.com or to myself, Erin at listingmirror.com. We look forward to helping you and serving you as best as we can. Thank you so much for joining today. We hope you have a great one.